in the menu and everything.
The Overcooked is really stressful.
No, Overcooked's so stressful.
That shit makes you feel anxiety. Like you're like, oh shit, the whole fucking time.
I always get pissed off because
you can play that double player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have it like sort of like, I
single player is too hard, man.
Yeah, it is. Fuck single player.
Yeah, I tried and I was like, fuck this.
But like have it sort of figured out like a little kitchen area, and then like the ground shakes and it breaks apart or something. Like fuck this.
Yeah. No, that game.
Goddamn bullshit.
Like you literally have to plan with your partner.
You got a fucking
like
onion.
you'll fail like 4 times. Like, all right, we got to get this together. Right, you're gonna grab the chicken and the fish. You're gonna drop it in the fryer. I'm gonna grab the plate. I'm gonna bring it over. You're gonna drop that shit on there. I'm gonna take it to the window. By that time, that hamburger should be done. If you're not talking, you're losing.
I honestly feel like that game's like a test. It's like a relationship test. Like I feel like you could use that in like a study to figure out how stable someone's relationship is.
No, you could.
Marriage counseling.
Yeah.
They'll quit if they don't have good communication skills. The game is gonna piss them the fuck off. Or you're just gonna
yell. Yeah. You're like, I need the fucking potatoes.
Where the fuck are you?
How many times do I gotta say it? Why the fuck are you the one cooking the potatoes? Yeah. I'm the potato guy.
I dropped the plate and wash it. You fucking chop the lettuce.
Hey, that shit is. I'm gonna play now. That shit gets it going, man. Like.
Tipsters this week. We're going to be playing another top 10 game with historical rulers, the craziest top 10 historical rulers. It's going to be Jeremy, Antoine, Connor, and Zach this week. A nice, wholesome game.
Yeah, the most.
That's your word today.
I was going to say this is like a pretty crazy topic, but compared to the shit we talk about normally, this is pretty tame.
Yeah, the most wholesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw out a softball for early on. I think one of the top 10 craziest rulers needs to be Alexander the Great of Macedonia. And I don't think he was... Well, I don't think most of the people we're probably going to talk about are super classically crazy, at least not for me. That's not a lot of the people I picked, but I think he was like a fucking paranoid... I think he was like a paranoid person, and that complete... like who controlled, I don't know, more land than anyone else ever had before. And that's pretty fucking insane.
He did accomplish some feats here.
But also, like, what kind of person do you have to be to just be like, yeah, I'm going to take my army and pillage through Asia?
Like the thing, he didn't stop the conquering. Like most people, they would annex a country, take it over, whatever, and they start taking the resources. He skipped the resource part. He would just keep going forward to whoever was.
Yeah, even like a normal person would have stopped at India and been like, oh shit, I got like most of this continent.
I got a lot right now.
Chill here is like, no, I'm just going to keep going.
I mean, that's all he knew how to do at that point, though, don't you think?
Yeah, but then like
what is Alexander the Great going to do if he's not conquering motherfuckers?
I don't know.
Being a literal emperor,
being like a ruler of.
He obviously was like
not the fun part.
Yeah, he was born a warrior. He was like, this is what I do. Somebody else can stay at the house and fucking tell people.
It
what
takes
to do.
a very kind of specific personality. I don't think we've seen anywhere else in history. Well, at least with the actual being able to do it part of it too.
Wasn't that Genghis?
Yeah,
didn't he just go around conquering?
But he was quite a bit after Alexander.
I don't think he was as like paranoid a person. I don't think it's fucking like people got all.
Plus, my dude Genghis really just cared about fucking, like on some real shit.
Yeah. Fun fact about him. So 2% of most people who are Asian are related to Genghis Khan. They're direct descendants of him.
There's a lot of Asian people.
54% of most of the human population is within the area of Mongolia, China, Singapore, Korea's.
So of that 54% of the world, 2% of them could trace their lineage back to my man Genghis Khan.
That's crazy. I think Genghis needs to be on here just for that.
Just for that one, I give Genghis 4 points.
I won't lie. He'll probably make a round in here.
But yeah, that's my pitch for Alexander the Great. I think he was like a nuts guy.
So like you're pitching it craziest historical ruler as like he was just crazy good at what he did.
But like he died at
was
like
a workaholic.
Fucking 30 something. Even for the time, for like upper class people, that's pretty fucking low.
In addition, they don't know what actually killed him.
Yeah.
They don't know what actually killed him.
Might have been a heart attack, might have been poison, might have been stabbed. They really
probably
don't
was
know.
poison. They were probably like, "Yo, bro, you're really stretching our resources
And
here by
like,
taking over
most
all these
likely the
fucking
people
places."
that would have poisoned him were like the people from his own group, like his own army.
I mean,
Right.
here's
They
the
got
thing.
tired of going. They were like,
Yes.
"Oh, we got to take this nigga out."
No,
Once
they
he
wanted to
died-
keep going, and he's like, "I'm going to go back to Macedonia," and they're like, "We are like soldiers. We don't have soldiering to do."
But like after he died, the rest of his empire was split up into 3 main groups. One of them being the Byzantine Empire, which took over the rest of Persia, and the other one being the Ptolemaic Empire, which eventually led to Cleopatra. By the way, everyone in that line was absolutely, well, besides being super inbred, just they wasted so much money. I think between Ptolemy the First and all the way to Ptolemy, I think it was number like 10, it was pretty much just drinking, orgy. I married my sister, drinking, orgy. I married my niece's sister, and then so on and so forth.
So, like, if Robert Baratheon had been king for 1,000 years,
It's more like their family tree went from being less of a tree to more of a family wreath.
okay, okay,
like a family bush.
It just kind of led back to itself to a certain point, which makes me wonder. So, I mean, Cleopatra was the later portion of the line. By the way, she's like Cleopatra, like the 13th. So they just kind of kept with the naming thing. She's reportedly supposed to be the most beautiful woman in antiquity, and I don't know how much I really believe that.
With how inbred she was.
Researching or looking at a lot of this. Researching is a big word for me. I don't know how accurate it is, but looking at a lot of this stuff, there's so many instances of in history where you really can't tell who was telling the truth ever, and a lot of the people's best interest was to say either very nice things or very bad things about all of these rulers. So there's really not a lot of middle ground for these people. Either they were like the most attractive woman
Being to
ever,
ever walk the earth.
or they were like an ugly hag who had like a tail or something. They were like, very rarely are there these middle grounds.
Okay. So, reining it back to Alexander the Great, what are you assigning it points wise?
I'm going to give it like a 10. I don't think he's the craziest or anything.
Given the 10 off the rip, Alexander the Great.
Or 1. I want to give it the 1.
Okay.
The lowest. I couldn't remember. Yeah, lowest. Give it the 1. I don't think he's the craziest, but I definitely think he's extremely unique, and there really aren't a lot of other rulers exactly like him.
I think you're right about that. He's well known for sure.
Yeah, the Great even.
They were a little loose with the naming from what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Like there was a whole bunch of people with like kind of the same name, you know? It was just like the lingo they used to describe them.
Well, there's like, depending on what area you're in, there's maybe like 20 names. Kings and shit get to be named. It's a pretty small number. So you got to put something on there.
Yeah, you could be Alexander the Great, Alexander the Terrible, Alexander the Okay.
How many fucking Henrys and Louis?
Right. Seriously.
Yeah.
Bunches. There's literally bunches.
Any other numbers? Any other?
I'll toss Alexander the Great my 2.
I feel the same. You could say he did a good job, but I believe that he kind of built most of that on what his dad had already done.
True. Philip the First of Macedonia.
Second.
Philip the Second. Apologies.
You blasphemer.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason I'm throwing out the second is I may have picked Philip II for one of mine.
All right, well, let's go on to you then, Zach.
All right, well,
You weren't giving him no points, right?
I see how it is.
So one of the
I'm looking for something different in these rules.
How about this? Does the word war elephants pique your interest?
I heard of these war elephants.
All right. Well, the guy that I'm picking today is Hannibal Barcas, who is a old Corinthian commander who basically kept Rome on their toes when they first started
the
forming.
scourge of the Roman Empire.
So
was that his actual like?
No, he was just like he's like the villain of Roman history.
Bad. Now, in addition, Rome was so impressed by him that after he eventually died in battle, of course, they basically copied his entire playbook, and that's kind of been the start of how Rome became such a decent world power at the time.
Rome's pride would only allow them to do that after he died. I believe he was the only one. He was like the last guy really for like
to make Rome scared.
Yeah, to give them like a decisive loss in battle. I can't remember which battle that was, but he like humiliated them so bad he became like the fucking boogeyman for an empire.
I actually got that battle right here.
The boogeyman.
So the battle you were thinking of is the Battle of Kane.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
Kane.
Kane.
Sorry, I just remembered.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he's already had multiple battles with Rome at this point in time. Now, after one of the battles, they were expecting him to get on his ships and, over to Kane. His decision was, no, we're going to take the 20,000 men that we have. We're going to go the long way around, taking horses, mules, thousands of men, including war elephants, through the Alps, and then decide to come down on the northern side of Italy. So whereas they just kind of have like encampments just there, basically just say it's basically just that opening scene from like the third Lord of the Rings movie where there's just fucking elephants coming out of nowhere. I mean, there's maybe like a couple centurions, it's a wooden fort, and it's just raining fire arrows and there's animals breaking down the walls.
And they were prepared for him from a different
Oh, yeah.
side,
they were expecting him to come from the sea itself. Now, in addition to that, the Battle of Cannae, they had another Roman general coming through, and he was pretty sure he was going to beat them. And Hannibal actually knew that this guy was being extra cocky. So what he was doing is he basically had his infantry moving back slowly till they were in the center. And with it, he surrounded them. So he took an army of 30 to 40,000 and was able to defeat an army of 100,000 soldiers very easily with very minimal loss on Hannibal's side. He's actually at the point where he's been quoted as being one of the better historians by Napoleon, it's not a good pick, but Hitler, Stalin, and so on and so forth, where multiple world leaders, even now, even last 100 or so years, go kind of back to his playbook still on what they really should do for combat.
Yeah, he wrote the book on fucking murdering dudes in like open combat. He looked exactly like you'd want a guy like him to look. He had like one eye, right? Didn't he have like an eye patch?
I don't.
That's fucking great if he had an eye patch like that.
And he like the story of taking them through the Alps is like, you didn't do that. They didn't expect him.
Right.
Because no one fucking did that.
He's just crossing a fucking mountain. Like,
Thinking of I just keep thinking of the people
Yeah.
that he took with him. Like they're walking through these mountains and they're like, yo, we're about to go over here and kill some motherfuckers. And then the other people are like, hey, yo, they're coming.
Yeah.
And then they come from like behind them. They're like, what the fuck is this? And they're all like, just running down the mountain. Like, how much does your adrenaline go up when you see the first person after walking for that long?
And
you're like, the time has come.
It's so
and then you're riding an elephant.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. You come in with these fucking war elephants that like, I'm going to guess any of these people had never seen before in their life.
Hell yeah, fucking elephant
Not
over
to
there.
mention, there's probably like 10, if not like 15 archers on top of this elephant, just on this little pontoon that's on its back, just shooting at the same time.
And like Rome had up to this point had cut its teeth just like murdering the little tribes directly surrounding it on the Italian peninsula. And this was its first like big boy
This is war.
like real conflict.
and they're encountering fucking war elephants.
Like this is the point where any logical like civilization is like, oh no, you control us now. You get Rome. Like we concede. But they're like,
To my knowledge, he got pretty close to actual Rome, capital itself.
If all of the people in Rome weren't fucking stone cold psychopaths at the time, they should have given him the city. So many people died because they were just like,
the solution at the time was like, it's either give up or keep throwing bodies at him. I choose the second option.
yes. Every time throughout history, that's how it works. That's how we won the Revolutionary War. You guys, let's be real.
Eventually, they're all going to be dead, or all of our guys are going to be dead. I'm going to be somewhere far over there with all the money.
Outlast. That's the only option.
That is winning war.
Yeah.
No, I got 2 points to throw at you, Zach. Was he really a ruler? And how crazy was he?
I mean, you got to be crazy to be like, yo, we're walking through this fucking mountain.
That's fair.
That is
extremely
crazy.
fair.
All 40,000 of you motherfuckers are going to follow me through this mountain. They're probably all like, yo, well, wait.
Just so you know, too, we're going to go through the mountain and we're going to face 100,000 people.
We're going to fight the biggest empire right now.
He started with 20,000. On his way there, he got 40,000.
Yo, he was on a Nelson's walk picking people up. Like, you want to join us? We're about to fuck these people up. And they're all like, yeah, we'll join. Like, give them some spears.
Like, he basically got to these like different cities and tribes before Rome got there and started fucking them. He's like, hey, you know those guys that killed your neighbor like 2 weeks ago?
They're going to kill you.
Because he landed in Spain or something?
Yeah, he started from like the upper portion of
Iberian
Spain.
Peninsula.
Yes, and made his way through the Alps. There are some, and I don't know how accurate it is, but some speculation that they were within like sight of the actual Matterhorn mountain itself. So like they were deep in the Alps.
The one point that you made against him with was he an actual ruler? I'm just gonna throw it out there.
He's a leader.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Right,
Fair
right.
enough. Okay.
Like I'm gonna
Picked up
let you know.
10,000 people.
I was not trying to be too accusatory here.
Right now, popes are counted as leaders. I'm just saying.
I mean, technically, back in the day, though, they started the Crusades.
Actual country itself.
Yeah.
Like the Vatican is its own independent state.
So yeah, Pope is a leader.
I mean, he's elected to the position as well. So
But they've been leaders, though. You know what I'm saying? Like they made decisions to go kill motherfuckers.
I'm just saying, like if he's a leader of a, I'm not limiting it to just rulers personally. I know that of what I.
Yeah,
wrote
Pope
down.
had influence of a bunch of people, especially when places
People were
fucking
Christian.
Catholic in Europe. Yeah.
So Hannibal, I like Hannibal, man.
Yeah, Hannibal. I'm going to give Hannibal a 3. Hannibal gets a 3.
I like Hannibal. I'm gonna give him a 3. Like, nah, that's fucked up, man. I'm fucking with the Hannibal.
We're
man.
early, dude.
Yeah, but this is how it always goes, man. I'm learning my lessons here. You gotta stick with your gut feeling.
Okay.
I'll give Hannibal my 1.
Damn, haters,
Damn.
yo. I'm giving Hannibal the 7, yo.
Whoa.
I fuck with him. He brought elephants to Rome.
Well, to Italy.
Okay, he got close.
Yeah, he got close. He got real close.
which is a lot better than, well, the rest of history can say.
I never found out how long the elephants actually lasted. Because if I was like a Roman general, I'd be like, take out the fucking elephant. I don't care how many guys we kill if we can get that fucking
Drop that thing.
that big gray horse. If we can kill that thing.
That big gray horse.
And Zach, what are you throwing on to Hannibal?
Well, it was mentioned it's pretty early. I'm going to go ahead and give him my 4.
Yeah, they're all hating on Hannibal. All right.
Oh, no, I got nothing against him.
Antoine stands Hannibal.
But to name my first kid Hannibal, though. I mean, my second kid.
Wait.
I'm about to change little Antoine's name. Girl or not, it's Hannibal, the next one.
You just name her Hannah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Well, I was
The
going to
first
say
name with
Hannibal.
parentheses in it.
No, it has to just be Hannibal. Mm-hmm.
All right, Antoine.
She'll be all right.
Who you got?
I don't know if I know how to say his name correctly.
Is it Nebuchadnezzar?
No, that was a good one, though. I don't know if I would know how to say that correctly either if I read it.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar. God damn it.
Hong Quan? It's Quan?
Can I
Is
see?
it, how is XI in
Isn't it like Chi?
Shiquan?
My brother took Mandarin. I didn't. And even then, that's like one.
I took it
dialect
for
of
like
Chinese.
a month and got kicked
No, you're
out.
pretty close. That's Hong Xiquan.
So I didn't get to do much looking into him,
Right.
but I did some looking into him.
As we've noted previously, none of us are historians.
I don't know, man. Zach's over here pretty historic right now. Like everything you say is corrected. You know, I'm like, oh, he's a historian. Let me just go ahead and put this out here. I just like maybe 2 articles. So
The only history I know about is like Roman history, which is terrible. It's the fucking worst.
So this dude grew up and was like pretty pivotal in like 19th century China. He was like one of the best scholars.
19th century China, so pretty recently, right?
So
It's like
1800s.
1800s.
Yeah.
Pretty recently.
Remember, we made the cutoff point for this
No,
topic, 1920.
China goes for like fucking 1,000 years, though. So you can, or thousands of years.
Yeah.
You can go back pretty far.
And then he failed an imperial test, right? And when he failed, it gave him like a nervous breakdown. Like he mentally broke down from it
Okay.
and started to claim to be Jesus's younger brother.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That's what he started claiming. He was the son of God and he was Jesus's younger brother.
I might have missed a date. When was this guy alive?
19th century.
So
1800s.
Okay.
Yeah, just casually. 1800 years after Jesus was born.
So then he started a rebellion against Buddhism, Confucianism, and like mainstream Christians.
Okay.
And so he went around fighting like little tribes and stuff like that, like trying to like convince them and like basically just killing them if they didn't believe him.
That's cool of him to do.
Not really. And then he took over a little town and basically made that town like his country and changed all the rules and made people do like different things in there.
Damn.
I too hope to do this. Yes.
And
FBI, if you're listening.
Yeah, right.
like he wasn't really like a good ruler or anything. Like he just killed a lot of people and shit like that. I just thought he was cool because he failed the test and
And then was like, I'm the son of God.
Once he failed the test, he felt so inferior that he was like.
Do we know what kind of test this was? Was it like
It just like they just said he failed an imperial test.
okay?
It was like standardized testing of the, of the 1800s.
Yeah,
He fucked up his Scantron. He hit it with pen instead of pencil.
They No Child Left Behind in this emperor.
Like I guess he couldn't just like what I was thinking is he couldn't take it like that he was one of the most respected scholars and failed this test and like it fucked him up so much that like he went home woke up to the
actually-
Smart kid failed the test and it just wrecked his whole identity.
his whole life.
He was like, now I'm a man of faith and the son of God.
He did like a series of actuallys. But, actually, I'm related to Jesus, and actually I'm older than him. So I'm like the better son of God.
Yes.
Well, he was his younger brother.
I was younger. Okay, that makes
He was
more
Jesus' younger brother.
I misunderstood. Okay, yeah.
And then I thought it was like crazy that like you just come up with this crazy thing like you didn't even go with like the popular religion in your area. You went with like I'm the son of Jesus and I'm going to kill you if you
best
don't
case
believe it.
scenario, he was Jesus' half brother. You know, I think Mary Magdalene was fucking walking around.
Yeah. God himself, maybe.
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene, no way was she alive in the 1800s. I'm calling bullshit right now. So
for him giving me a laugh, that's why he made my list, and I'm gonna give him a 3.
I'm gonna give him a 4. That's a pretty weird thing.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
So
Well, this is different. This is different than the rest of the stories I've read today.
Yeah, I'll do the same. I'm gonna do 3.
It was definitely a turn from what I was reading, and it made me laugh. And the other stuff I was reading, I was like, wow, damn, man, these people are fucked up.
I mean, I can see going down the list. He levied the taxes. He invaded this country. My dad's God.
my dad's God.
After failing a test, though, that makes it even better. Like, it almost like makes it a cartoon in my mind. Like,
It makes it really relatable to Antoine. He's like, one time when I failed a test, I was like, you know what? I must be the son of God.
Yeah, this is below me is what it is. I'm supposed to be doing some fucking miracles out here.
Well, actually, I'm better than this test.
I'll also throw that my 3.
I wonder like how long it took him to get the test results. Like he was at home, like aced that fucking test. Went back like 2 weeks later. They were like, yeah, you failed. He was like, well, actually, you failed.
Yeah, I have no idea what this test was really, but I do love thinking that it was like a fucking
Don't storm out
ACC.
yet. We'll tell you what you failed on. No. I already know. I'm way better than this. But if you just look at right here, I'll give you pointers. No. My dad's God. Goodbye.
Yeah, you know who my brother
End of
is?
story.
You must not know who my brother is. Brother's Jesus, okay?
You know what? You're not getting on his next birthday. You're getting nothing.
Yeah. Santa Claus is not coming for you, motherfucker.
The guy said he was Buddhist. That's why he's got such a grudge. It's like, well, actually, I don't care. Well, fuck Buddha.
So,
and I have to think in that time there was a lot of like Buddhists and shit in that area, right?
There still are.
Yeah.
Like that's where like that
Buddhist, Confucius.
Yeah, that's like the
Taoism?
most popular.
Taoism. Yeah.
No, Taoism.
No, it's with a D.
Oh, is it?
You pronounce it with a D. Yeah, it's spelled T. It's weird. And other languages, a
Fair
fucking
enough.
trip, man.
I mean, English isn't any better.
No.
no language makes any sense whatsoever.
No, I mean, like,
they
English
make
is
enough sense for us to
especially bad.
communicate.
No, Esperanto makes sense.
What the hell? Is
I'll have to take your word for
Isn't
it.
it that the language they made that's supposed to be like the international language that nobody ever cared about?
I don't know.
I mean, this is my first time hearing about it, so
You guys
I
got
think
me
they did a
going
very
back to
bad job about it.
Wikipedia here for a reference I thought was more universally known.
I guess it's kind of poetic, ain't it?
Yeah, the universal language that nobody knows. While he's looking that up, I'm going to throw out Shi Huangdi, which is actually not the name because, I did a little refresher course on my boy here. His name was actually
on your boy?
Qin Shi Huang, and Shi Huangdi is a title because he was the first emperor of a unified China. He united them.
That's what the Shi Wang is.
Now, are we post or pre Great Wall?
Pre, because my man's is the originator of the Great Wall.
Ah.
Yeah, he was the initiator of the Great Wall, and he was obsessed with immortality. So my boy was drinking mercury.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking
the
about.
Mercury Man.
So they still haven't opened up his tomb because they literally They made a miniature of all of China, including the Great Wall and his tombs in the center of it.
Surrounded
And there
in
are
mercury.
lakes of mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if they open up the tomb, whoever opens it, they're dead. They're adding to the tomb.
My dude, he made a death trap surrounded by a terracotta army
Makes you wonder how the fuck they built it, right?
With a lot of
with a lot of death.
yes. Remember, a lot of rulers were not opposed to. Oh, they can die with me after I'm dead.
I mean, how many people are buried in the Great Wall? It's thousands, right?
Yeah, that's
At
what
least.
they say.
Yeah.
At least,
At least according to the one Mummy movie.
That's where we get all of our historical information from the Mummy.
Wait, was there a mummy movie that was in China?
Yes.
Fuck, I gotta
There was
watch
Yetis.
There was Yetis and China.
that. Dude, that sounds badass. I
Jet
gotta
Li
watch
was
that.
the mummy monster.
What the
Yo,
fuck?
how did I not know about this one?
Oh, and on top of it, he got avatar powers.
Is Brendan Fraser not in that one?
No, he is. He's.
Oh,
damn
what?
This is where the kid's like being his own Indiana Jones, and he's an adult.
Not your average watch along.
Yeah, right.
Gonna fucking watch whatever mummy movie that was.
It's the last one they made before the Tom Cruise one, which I have not seen.
Tom Cruise one is excellent. Fucking work of art for
Oh,
cinema.
I feel
Is
like
that like a legit thing, or are you being funny?
No, it's a garbage piece of shit that was so bad it caused them to like cancel a series of movies that were going to be in their cinematic universe.
Wow.
We're a bit off topic here. though. Let's talk
So
about
Shi Wang Di,
Shi
my
Wang
man,
Di.
fucking was drinking mercury to extend his life. As we all know, mercury ain't gonna be extending no lives, but he drank it pretty regularly and he died because of it.
damn.
Yeah.
He went crazy
They-
too because of it, right?
He did go crazy. And after he started drinking mercury, he came up with the idea of drawing and quartering people. Does everybody know what drawing and quartering is?
I'm familiar.
That's
So-
the tie-up.
What you do is you tie people 4 ways to horses, and then you smack all of the horses' asses, and they pull those people apart. And that's how they die.
He invented that?
He invented that.
Do you think that got here on the Silk Road? Do you think that's how we got it? Or did someone think of it here like in Europe independently?
I'm sure both, probably.
I mean, trade between China and like Renaissance Italy was a documented thing, so
Right,
it,
Yeah,
it would
we
be out
got
of the
this
question for some guys.
crazy shit back in China.
So our emperor, he
Let me tell you, all you need is some rope and 4 horses. It is fucked up.
No, I like thinking about it on the Renaissance side. So Giuseppe, you've been gone for like 5 years. Have you? You don't have any horses around, do you? You know that one guy that owes you money?
just get 4 horses. We handled this motherfucker today. And just because like I've been obsessed with Shi Wang Di since early childhood, like it was like one of the first rulers that I learned about and really glommed onto. My
I'm gonna
dude,
call bullshit. I want to see his poster on your wall.
you don't know where my secret walls are.
Your secret walls.
His great one.
My worshiping room is right.
I need a context. What's a secret wall?
Don't worry about it.
It's a secret.
It's a secret, right? I'm gonna give Shi Wang my 7.
Well, just because he has the impenetrable tomb, I'm gonna give him my 5.
I'm
Because
a
like
se-
really, besides that, he was just a mercury drinking.
I mean, that's
Crazy
pretty
guy.
fucking crazy. That's pretty crazy. And he built the Great Wall, which has lasted
Built
for
a
forever.
great wall.
He did build the Great Wall.
Unified
Actually, I'm
China.
gonna give him my 8. I'll switch him up to an 8 because you're right. The Great Wall plus the tomb.
I mean, he went crazy later on, but that's still a lot of
accomplishment.
yeah, a lot of steps. Plus, for everybody to still willingly make you a tomb filled with mercury, even after your death, they're still devoted to you, even if your ass went
Batshit crazy.
Exactly. So with that, I'm gonna give him my 6.
Yeah, he gets a 7 from me. That guy's putting mercury
Wang
lakes in your
Digolo.
tomb. That's cool.
Shi Wang Digolo.
That big, that big fucking army made out of mud. That's cool. Yeah, this guy's fucking cool.
No, he is cool, man. Like I watched plenty of stuff about the Terracotta Army.
Did you hear about the one time a German art student dressed himself up as a terracotta soldier and stayed down there and waited till somebody actually noticed him?
How long did that take?
He was down there for like 45 minutes.
I mean, that's
And they had
surprising.
guards. that walk up and down there to make sure nobody's down there.
I thought you were going to say he was there for days, honestly.
No, yeah, I did too.
I didn't realize how heavily it was guarded.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a national treasure to China, and it's also a national treasure to the world because, I mean, all the terracotta soldiers, they're not just like copy paste. Each one has their own unique, different facial features, facial hair. They're all basically almost modeled after individual people.
Now I'm going to tell you what, we need to destroy that demon army because they're going to come back to life and they will enforce the will of Mao Zedong. I promise you that.
Have the Terracotta Army played into
Thank you,
Supernatural? Yeah, because I feel like that's a really ripe, right, that's like a good vein for them to hit.
I don't think they ever encountered the Terracotta Army in their 15 seasons.
All right, well, I've got another interesting historical figure to put forth. Ludwig II of Bavaria. He is a classically insane king. He ruled from...
Classically insane.
I guess I don't know when he ruled, but he was born 1845 to 1886. And just overall, really weird guy. He was... As most historians put forth today, probably gay, which is fine. That doesn't contribute anything to his insanity. It certainly didn't help his feelings of the position he was in, I'm sure. But I think his biggest achievement was he built a castle that looked like a goddamn fairy tale out in the mountains in Bavaria, kind of on some existing castles. And it was filled with like trap doors. And
so he built a castle on top of a castle.
Yeah, so it's
my dude busted out the H.H. Holmes of fucking like ancient rulers right here.
Right. I think I don't know if he gains points or loses points, but from what I could tell, he wasn't like a complete homicidal maniac. Mm-hmm. He wanted to like live in a fairy tale, basically. So he built this insane castle that here, I'm going to show you guys.
Didn't he like use all of the money in the treasury to build the castle?
Well, he used all the money in the treasury for two things. One was this insane castle, which I cannot pronounce because I'm not Bavarian.
I'd love to give a stab.
Let me see if I can find it.
As long as it's not French, I have a decent chance of actually being able to pronounce it.
Yeah, let's have Zach give this a go.
The lead historian of Not Your Average Hipsters.
Yeah.
Neuschwanstein Castle.
Neuschwanstein.
We'll go with that. Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds right. That sounds like something that could come out of Bavaria.
Yeah.
Along with their cream.
I was about to say.
I'm not gonna lie. You said Bavaria. My first thought was cream.
So yeah, he basically bankrupted the kingdom to make this crazy castle that was incredibly extravagant, extremely weird looking. We're talking about 1886. People didn't build fucking castles back then.
My dude did.
Yeah, this guy did.
Trendsetter.
And he had all these
Ludwig.
like crazy like swan motifs everywhere. And he had trapdoors and secret fucking passageways and all this weird shit in here.
He sounds like that dude, man, for real.
He also loved the arts. The other thing that bankrupted the kingdom was his patronage of Richard Wagner, the famous German composer, which he just spent lavishly on and wanted to perform all the time.
So he just bought a bard, basically.
Yeah, he was like,
I can't quote this, but I heard through the grapevine that Ludwig II gave Bavaria most of its tourism sites today. Like people just go there to see stuff that he basically
I didn't find
did.
that explicitly, but it doesn't surprise me at all. The castle wasn't the only thing he was like building.
Well, it's all like for the artsy shit. Like,
oh yeah. Like Wagner is like I'm sure like I don't think anyone here is like a big classical music head, but if you heard some of his compositions, you'd be like, oh, I recognize that. So pretty big deal there. But fucking bankrupted the entire goddamn country in what was going into an extremely tumultuous time in world history when maybe you wouldn't want to be fucking.
he was waiting for HGTV to show up. Check out my castle.
I mean,
episode
you would
4.
have loved that shit.
What time period was this? 1886, you said?
Castle started being constructed 1869.
Okay.
Okay, well, 2 points here. My first point is that if my dude was a anime character, he would be Maximilian Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'd agree with that.
I can see what you're
I get
saying.
that vibe.
Yeah.
And 2, I'll give him my 4 because I resonate heavily with always wanting to live in a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you would have been more like, I love trapdoors.
I do love trapdoors.
Yeah, with your secret walls.
Oh yeah.
My secret walls and trapdoors. This is Castle.
Castle von Slanken.
This doesn't change his point value at all or anything, but he is the inspiration for one of my favorite all-time board games, Castles of Mad King Ludwig, where you build his fucking weird castle.
Oh, look at that. A little board game plug.
Yeah. Fun game. Played a lot.
I highly suggest it. So what's your points for Mad King Ludwig II?
I'll give him a solid 6. I think he was slandered a lot later by other people. I didn't really get to say this. I should have. He was basically force given a psychiatric test by a lot of other people in the country, other higher ups, who were like,
you're spending our money ridiculously.
What the fuck is happening here? And they all like, yeah, he's crazy. Then he killed himself. Like,
wouldn't that be amazing if we could do that with some of the leaders here in our own time?
Like jumped off a bridge right afterwards. He's like, I don't want to be known as like I don't want to live in like a fucking insane asylum. Or
right.
You might want to try to like push that as a bill. Actually, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna run the country, you got to take a psychiatric exam.
I'm just gonna say I'm surprised he didn't pull like a Saddam Hussein and like hide inside the castle.
He probably could have.
I mean, like I'm sure
never
there's
knew about
plenty of
this
secret
door.
rooms that maybe even now have not been found.
So what you're saying is if I'm ever building a crazy castle, make sure
Get a
that
fucking room.
one of the rooms attaches to the kitchen.
Also,
or you just get a second kitchen.
yeah.
You just
Well, who
build
will
a room.
stock the kitchen then?
I mean, if you're living there forever, eventually you'll probably get to the point where rats might be the option, depending on how successful you are at hiding.
I'd rather just have one that leads to the main kitchen where I could go pilfer food.
So what?
You're gonna get caught pilfering the food.
I see the ghost of the dead king.
Yeah.
He gets a sandwich once in a while.
He's pretty solid. I touched him.
I also want to point out
He
real
looked
quick.
at me and he ran away.
I want to point out real quick that a guy who loves music, is into architecture, gay with suicidal ideations, sounds like someone I'd hang out with. I just want to put that up. Like, of every ruler on the list, this is a guy like, hey, I could like talk to him. He's probably pretty chill.
I really like fairy tales and music. Sounds pretty legit.
Yeah.
No, I imagine that'd be a difficult person to talk to because I wouldn't imagine being able to get a single word in where it'd be kind of like, and now there's this other room I have.
Would you like to look at my curiosities?
Yeah, I would definitely be hanging out at his place.
I have the pool room,
Not Ivan the
game
Terrible.
room,
No,
the
no.
chair room, the carpet room. Don't worry about the carpet room. Kitchen 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Don't worry about the other ones in between I missed.
That's all in the secret room. I'll show you a couple
On the
secret
secret
rooms.
wall.
I'll give him a 5 just because he still brings people to Bavaria.
Yeah, like thousands.
He's
of
the only reason Bavaria even matters,
Has a
other than their
that-
cream.
They have he gave them tourism.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
thousands of tourists a day, even
Yeah, but
You gotta
during
check
the
it out.
season, yeah.
it's not like he was trying to give him tourism. He was just that kind
I mean,
of...
but like, if there was like, if every ruler would have been the same as him or the same, and he didn't switch it up, was like, all right, I'm done killing guys. Let's go build a castle. We're gonna chill it out for a minute. Then they would just be like normal Barbarian,
Yeah,
made some
all
cream.
the true psychopaths in Bavaria were
Or
like,
they would have had
I
enough
wish
money
this
to
guy
make
would keep
other
fucking
marvels of
spending his money to
engineering.
kill people.
Yeah, no, that's how they were. They were like, because that's why they gave him the test. They're like, you want to go? We got to test this dude, man. He's not trying to kill people. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck's the matter with him? And he's over here like, I just want to build a castle, man. Why can't we chill for a little
Little
bit?
did they know that the test would lead him to killing people.
So, Zach, were you giving Ludwig II of Bavaria any points?
I'm going to do 3. All right. Next guy I'm going to bring up is Robert the Bruce, the first king of Scotland.
Robert the Bruce?
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Okay.
Robert the Bruce.
So
Cool name.
he was king between 1306 until his death in 1329. So he is credited with the first and one of the few successful rebellions against actual English rule. So during the time, he actually ended up taking the Scottish independence after the death of William Wallace and him being courted and disemboweled and basically paraded out through the different cities itself. Afterwards, he pretty much led a systematic and very well kind of guerrilla warfare against England. And then it was a final battle afterwards that kind of just made England decide that they were going to have to back off because they basically lost a very large portion. Now, I don't think he died, but it was King Edward I's son that was leading the battle. And I believe his son was actually, what's the word I'm looking for? his son was given mercy, so he wasn't killed on the battlefield. So his son basically had to go back to his dad and
Shame.
pretty much. But,
Father, we have lost.
but the thing is,
I tried my best, Daddy.
but it's eventually Robert's successors that are actually the current ruler, or they're not really the rulers because they kind of have a parliament, but the current queen and all the other nobility in Britain are actually descendants of Robert the Bruce, because it's his lineage that actually ended up taking over rule of England. So that's kind of how
So my man went from being rebelling against fucking England.
he went from being an earl who actually served Edward I to sparking a revolution after the death of William Wallace, which again, there was already the spark there. He just kind of carried the torch and kept moving along, led multiple battles, had a successful final battle, was named the King of Scotland by the people itself. And they had like a whole, sword and stone ceremony.
So this guy went from, let me get this right, from basically like peasant to rebel leader.
No, not
to,
peasant.
He was always an earl.
He was already nobility, but he was Scottish nobility, which is even like 2 steps down below English nobility because England owned them.
So basically,
But he made England not own them, right?
Yes.
so basically, this guy was already fine, and he was like, "What if I could?"
Be more fine.
You can't get-
Hey, I'm cool, but I could be cooler.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this guy my 2. He's not that crazy, but he's pretty fucking cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing.
Certainly worse guys, it seems.
So 2 from Connor. Zach, what are you giving?
I don't got a lot of numbers left. I'll give him my 1. Also, he has a movie on Netflix.
Oh, why does he?
What's the movie called, Zach?
Exiled
Plug it.
King.
This is not an official endorsement.
Not a sponsor.
But Netflix,
Netflix,
if you're
yeah.
strongly feeling it, we're all good for it.
Yeah,
Me.
we'll take whatever money we can get.
But yeah, it's a newer movie. Came out last year. If you can watch something in 4K, it is filmed in 4K, and it's a roughly pretty accurate movie on actually what happened. So I definitely recommend it.
Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, I just looked up on Google. If you're listening, we could use an endorsement.
We're tagging Reed in this episode.
Jesus Christ.
Reed, we're talking directly to you right now, buddy. We're struggling and we need help, okay?
And I just want to say,
I know you're not one of the 5 companies that sponsors podcasts, but
and just saying, remember that one time Blockbuster laughed in your face about the Netflix idea? Just think about it like this.
Right. It's not your average hipster, baby.
yeah, who do we still need to lock down? We got to lock down Blue Chew. We got to lock down one of the 7 mattress companies.
Mattress Firm, bro. Mattress Firm.
I don't even think no, it needs to be an internet mattress company. Although if we could get mattress Firm, that'd be the shit. I need a new queen size for real.
Make sure this is good here.
Let me get real close to the mic
Hey,
and
get on that mic and tell us about one of history's
breathe.
wildest rulers.
So
Historical rulers gone wild.
hey, that's like the perfect. That's the perfect opening for this.
Earl's gone wild.
Earl's gone wild.
Is that it?
What?
The dot.
Yeah, that was the bit. We're done. We're moving on to the next bit.
We're moving on to your person.
To my person. Okay, well, you guys brought him in pretty good because I kind of picked him for being like an out of control ruler, and his name, he's Christian VII of Denmark.
Okay.
Christian VII of Denmark took over in 1766 until
Okay.
he died in 1808. But that whole time he wasn't making decisions
Mm-hmm.
because he was out of control, pretty much.
Like how so?
So
At 16, he took over. And when he took over, he developed a mean habit of masturbation.
Wait, what?
Yo, this is taking a wild turn already.
Yeah. So he developed a mean habit of masturbation, right?
How many times a day for you, like, do you have to be masturbating to publicly, like, that's your one thing that, like, they're like, yo, he be masturbating the shit out of his fucking self.
So he did that, right? And so he hired a doctor because he was hallucinating.
I can't stop.
And instead of the doctor addressing like the hallucinations for real, he told him like, yo, you need to calm down with this masturbation. You're gonna be infertile.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what he liked to do. He also liked to have sex with strangers. So he would dress up as a peasant and go to brothels.
Okay, all right. I read about this guy.
He'd dress up as a peasant and go to brothels, right? And have sex with strangers. He was bisexual, so he was having sex with everybody. Didn't matter, all strangers. He used to do like crazy shit. Like, so one of his things was him and his friends would go outside and he had like this spiked club. And like passersby, he would just stab them with the spiked club. Like that was like a form of entertainment for him. He also was very well known for, in the middle of a conversation, if you said something he didn't like, he would just smack the shit out of you. Like, that was one of his big things. And another thing he did was when other royal families and stuff would come.
So, question: the moment he smacks you, is that other hand still busy?
I don't know where exactly he did his masturbating.
Smacking people and jerking off, fucking stabbing them with
Yo, my man was the pioneer of the Spider-Man. Do you know what the Spider-Man is, Connor?
I'm loosely aware of the Spider-Man.
Everybody should just be loosely aware of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I definitely. I
You want to research that on your own.
I neither want to be personally or intimately aware of the Spider-Man method to spray and cum all over whatever area you're in.
Well, you got to get it on your hand first. What was his name again, Antoine?
Let the record be known that Jeremy is more intimately aware than I
Charles
Christian the Seventh of Denmark. And so he used to have a tutor that would beat him, which made him like being beat. So then he would...
A little bit of masochism.
He would hire his slaves. He wouldn't hire them, but like his slaves, he would have them... He built a rack that they could tie him to where they could beat him until he bleeds. So it was like kind of like some reverse slavism going on, which I thought was cool. Like the slave gets to whip him.
Gotta be the best slave ever. Like, fucking, oh yeah, this dude, he owns me, but like, I get to beat the shit out of him all the time.
Like, anytime I'm angry, he pretty much comes down against me. I get to tie him up.
Just imagine being a new servant and just like, hey, did the king really just slap you? Yeah, it's fine though. What do you mean it's fine?
Wait till later.
What do you mean? What's till later? You'll see.
This is really speaking to my ignorance, but I thought that part of the world was better than having slaves in whatever that was, 17.
No, they had a lot of like sex slaves and shit
Denmark's
like that.
the one that sold slaves to the United States.
Yeah, well, I don't know shit because I'm a big dummy, Zach.
He married his cousin, like any person does back in those days.
That's a lot better than a lot of the other rulers.
Better than marrying your sister.
But the doctor started banging his cousin wife.
Yeah.
His cousin wife.
Cousin wife.
Because the doctor basically started ruling because he was losing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like he was hallucinating and stuff. And the doctor was basically like, oh shit, I have a chance to be like Dr. Ruler.
Dr.
guy.
King.
So like he was telling him like decisions to make and shit like that.
Let me
rephrase.
Yeah.
Doctor to the king?
Dr. Emperor.
My favorite thing that he did though was when people would come to like other royal people came and they would bow to him, he would leapfrog them.
My dude. Yes.
Literally the best thing I read all day. Like they bow down, he leapfrogged them. He was the biggest asshole ruler that I read about, and it was pretty dope. Like,
you didn't have me sold on any points up until the leapfrog, and like with the leapfrog 5.
That's good.
Five for the leapfrog.
Yeah, he's getting my 10. He's my favorite ruler.
Yeah,
he really didn't do anything major for Denmark, but like just him as a person being a ruler.
How could you? He sounds like he's completely incapable of doing anything.
Just walking around Spider-Man-ing everybody, fucking playing leapfrog with everybody. Honestly, the dude was dope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're forgetting the part where he just stabs random people.
Oh yeah. We can forgive that part.
It was just a spiked club, so I don't feel like it was any like lethal stabs. They weren't saying he was murdering him. He just like going around.
Yeah,
like,
he was poking you.
He was poking them with the thing, like, "Hey, watch it! Look at him." He was kind of just like watching Jackass back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
I'm Christian the 7th, and this is the peasant leapfrog.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that in the back of my head, he's like a Johnny Knoxville type.
Yeah, it's great.
They just didn't have video cameras back then. And
Yeah,
he was a king or whatever.
He definitely wasn't supposed to be like born as like a ruler, but
Could
like
you imagine
his personality made it to a place it wasn't.
Could you
supposed to.
imagine if they had like YouTube back then? He'd be the fucking dude. I would watch his vines.
He would be viral as fuck. You have any points for him over here?
Back at it again in Copenhagen.
I'm gonna go ahead and give him an 8. I'm with Jeremy the leapfrog.
It's the like I never heard like
It's
nobody
just
was
so-
that disrespectful back in the day. Like he was just like,
Like,
hey,
what-
you're in my city, bitch. I leapfrog motherfuckers when
What
they
are you
bother
gonna
me.
do? He's the fucking king.
Literally.
Yeah, that's the cool part about it. He was just like, nobody else can do this as fuck. Watch this. I'm about to leapfrog him.
Just imagine like the other guests like reaction to it, because like I don't have a reaction right now if someone just randomly leapfrogged me out of nowhere.
Well, like leapfrogged you while you're bowing. Like it's a normal thing for you to bow. You bow, he just leapfrogs you.
Doesn't matter. Let's say I'm picking up a penny off the ground. Someone comes over and leapfrogs me. I don't have a set reaction. I'm not built to have an automatic response to what to do.
What the fuck?
Did you just leapfrog me?
What the fuck just happened?
Yeah, like what do you call the police? Like, you don't have a good response.
I mean, like, that's just like doing petty shit. That's not really even bad. That's like taking stuff out of someone's grocery cart. You're not stealing. They didn't buy it.
I'm going to switch to a pope. Pope Stephen the Sixth.
Pope Stephen?
The sixth.
The Sixth.
He had something to do with the chronovision, didn't he?
No, he did not.
bringing this shit up again.
just making sure. It's actually Pope Stephen.
Pope Stephen.
That's like
the
he's
Sixth.
saying, that's Pope Chad the 8th.
Well,
He's a broski.
Pope Kyle the Ninth,
Destroyer of drywall.
patron saint of drywall.
he actually is most famous for the drywall crusades. The drywall crusades.
We
He
should really,
did the drywall in the Lugwood Castle.
Catholicism needs some new saints. There really needs to be like a saint of Monster Energy and drywall.
Saint of
Saint
the
Karen the complainer.
Yeah.
Saint Chad the Saint
The
of Ali.
rapist. The Chad the
I was
rapist.
gonna say Ali kickflip, but okay.
Yeah, you go to get your hypnol blessed.
So Stephen the Sixth, right? For a more fun name, his predecessor was named Formosus.
Formosus?
Formosus.
Yep. Pope
Saint of
Formosus.
Pope Formosus.
Formosus.
That sounds like a fucking smoothie.
And the reason I chose Stephen the Sixth is because he was a very power-hungry pope, and in order to discredit his political enemies within the popedom, he dug up the corpse of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, to put him on trial in 1896. He put Pope Formosus in pope clothes on a throne and shouted
clothes.
questions at the dead body. The dead body obviously could not fucking answer.
this dude is fucking crazy. Yo,
And then-
what the fuck?
He found the body guilty and tossed him in the Tiber River.
See, I think
Damn, he just disrespected Pope Formosus.
a true crazy person would have ruled the dead body innocent.
All right, you're right. I'm putting it back. I'm putting it fucking back.
hold on. How did that lead him to actually becoming the Pope?
He was already pope by this point, where he put on the trial of
So
the
it's like a
old pope.
professor that just got
How did they
tenure.
not,
It
like-
doesn't fucking care what he does.
Can you not like impeach the Pope? Because like
You technically can't,
digging
and
up.
they did kill him because of what he did.
Well, yeah, you should because like he's digging up dead bodies. He shouldn't be the Pope. Obviously, you guys fucked up on the boat somewhere.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm a fucking heathen. But isn't the Pope infallible? Isn't that like the
Hey, some shit just can't be denied. Like, well, this wasn't supposed to happen, guys. We gotta kill him.
Hold on. That's kind of like
You can't
technically
be
you're
an
not allowed to get
ex-pope.
divorced in Catholicism, but then they also have, we'll annul the marriage so it never happened so you can't get divorced.
Yeah, that's some real fucking
It's
crazy
just loopholes,
thinking.
man.
No, but I'm saying, like, have you ever heard of an ex-pope? No, they have to be dead popes, right?
Didn't one of them do that recently? Maybe am I fucking
think
out
you're
of
not
my
wrong.
gourd?
Pope Francis retired.
Yeah, didn't one of them
I think it was the
retire?
one before Francis, because Francis is the Nazi, right?
The former Nazi? I don't fucking
Hey, you guys
It
are
was like
crazy.
Hitler
You guys are
Youth,
making
right?
crazy accusations right now.
No, one of the popes recently was like Hitler Youth.
The
for real.
current one.
Yeah, maybe the current one.
I don't know, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not.
I don't really know about the popes.
I've been an
Pope lore.
atheist forever. Like, my parents are not religious. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know about the Pope. Pope is not my. All I know is I never heard of an ex-Pope. All right. There's nobody coming and giving speeches at the school like, yeah, I'm ex-Pope Francis. I can't even talk about Jesus to you guys.
Here's the thing: being Pope and like being a CEO are two different things. One's like, yeah, I get a lot of money, but then I can retire and do whatever the fuck I want. Whereas Pope, you're literally.
The closest man to God.
And
But that's what I'm saying. You can't be
not
an
even
ex-Pope.
that.
You got to
Like,
be dead.
If you just show your face out in like Italy, anywhere, you're gonna have an entire populace just excited
At
that you
least 8
exist.
grandmas are going to come hug you.
Yo, when the Pope came here, he had like
that's
a
not getting
parade.
grandmas to hug you. That's grandmas throwing themselves at the floor saying
True.
they're not worthy to be
True.
your light.
True.
What do you think they do at the DMV if I tried to get one of those cars with the bubble around it registered? How do you think I do about that?
I need a Pope mobile.
Hey, what color is it? It's clear.
yeah, it's the clear.
What color is your Pope-mobile? White.
Hey, do I need a 30-day tag for this, or do I just get automatic plates?
30-day tag on my Pope mobile.
No,
Hey guys, it wouldn't pass
Hold on.
e-check. Can I just get the plates for this?
I could
It only goes 10 miles an hour, okay?
It doesn't have an ODB2 port. I don't know where to put the.
Pope Chad the 17th gets my 10, though.
You mean Steven?
Pope Stephen the 6th, yeah.
You know,
Stephen the Sixth, man.
He put a dead body on trial, okay?
Hit me with the numbers.
What numbers you got?
Yeah.
Boy, you've only used 4. 2, 5, 7, and 8.
Everybody else used 5 then, right? Because I'm pretty sure I only didn't give out one number.
I've used 6. Connor's used 5.
Who didn't I give numbers to?
who did you give an extra number to?
Yeah.
Zach used 6.
I give him my 9. Digging a body up to put on trial is kind of crazy.
Give my 8. Fuck.
All right. And with that, it brings it back to Connor.
All right, so I'm kind of surprised he hasn't come up at this point, but I got to give big ups to my dude Nero of Rome. Nero's a crazy guy who a lot of shit that people say about him didn't actually happen, but the shit he did do is fucking wild. First off,
So wait. Let's dispel some of the myths that you say didn't happen.
yeah, so he didn't fucking fiddle while Rome burned.
Damn.
That's a big one, because A, wasn't in Rome when it happened. B, didn't play the fiddle. He played the lyre, a different instrument.
Son of a bitch.
But, and I'll get into this later, you can kind of see how that was like maybe propaganda at the time.
Against
or
Nero?
some shit that people were saying about him. Because first of all, he wasn't like a great ruler of Rome. I believe he was, Romans didn't have direct succession a lot of times. I guess technically on paper they did like a lot of later Western rulers, where it's like, oh, your firstborn son gets the throne. They would adopt people, usually from other more obscure parts of their family,
Uh-huh.
to be the next emperor. And I believe he succeeded Claudius, who is considered to be one of the like great emperors of Rome, who did all these great civic things and built things, and was generally agreed upon to be a pretty great ruler of Rome. Where Nero is a bit of a fuck up. I don't think he really ever wanted to rule. He wanted to be an artist and a performer more than anything else.
Okay. So he was like a fail son.
Yeah, he's a bit of a fail son, but I think he has maybe a little bit more passion than some modern fail sons.
Okay.
He was a poet and a musician, and he actually early in his life, or in his, I guess, career of ruling Rome, did some decent things where he like had a lot of civic projects, and I believe during his period he outlawed blood sports and tried to replace them with like poetry competitions and sports and
My dude
stuff.
was really trying to be the light of the land for Rome.
Yeah, he was, but he got a little off the rails. I don't know the exact reason why, because I'm not a historian, as we discussed, but Rome burned at some point because most of their shit was made out of wood, and that shit spreads fast. So when that happened, he came back in and was like, Romans don't have good culture, but Greeks do. So I'm going to build everything to look like Greek shit.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to make this thing called the Golden House that's going to cover what would be 1/3 of Rome if it was ever completed by one structure.
What?
Yeah.
And Rome was big as fuck. Like,
Huge. even by current standards, a pretty fucking big city. And that didn't get completed, but that's when people, I think, spread the rumor about him being like laughing while the city burnt or whatever. Playing the flute or fiddle. And yeah, I think a misunderstood person generally.
So he didn't really do anything crazy then.
But like, you're the leader of it, that at least in that region, like the greatest power, like political power, and you want to sing songs to people, and like I don't think he ever wanted to be a ruler. I think he just wanted to like be a poet.
So what I'm taking from this is, if we apply our current political family, it's like Donald Trump Jr. saying, "No, Dad, I don't want to go into business. I want to be a jazz solo."
It's like if George W. Bush was like, I just want to be a spoken word artist. Like,
entirely wouldn't have been surprised.
yeah. And yeah, he was like, he like rode chariots and stuff. Like he didn't like most Roman emperors were like on the fronts. And I guess this is even before then, like the consuls and before the like emperor times were like military rulers. And this was so against their personal identity as like a nation.
I'll give him I won't give him any points, but I'll give Alexander the Great my 4 now.
Okay. Fair.
Anybody else got any points for Nero?
Because he didn't seem crazy. He just seems like the most level-headed
Yeah.
of the rulers. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like ahead of his time.
Right.
Like, well, guys, you know, we could probably make a lot of money if we just like entertain the people and not just went around killing motherfuckers.
And they were like, no, the only way to entertain people is by blood sport.
There's some shit I'm probably missing here that like makes him one of history's weirdest guys. But that's not the things that interested me and made me remember them.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think like his mother was a really controlling person and he like had her murdered or whatever. But it's like,
You guys want the blood? He killed his mother.
like almost 2,000
Well, he
years.
didn't do it, but he had Tom do it.
It was almost 2,000 years ago. I'm sure some shit got mixed up in there.
Yeah. See, I was ready to give you some points for Nero when I thought he played the fiddle. Well,
But you made him look behind the curtain.
yeah. I no longer think he's as crazy as I once did. I was like, yeah, my dude was lit. Like he didn't care about the empire at all.
I mean, if anything, probably after the whole Rome burning thing, Nero's like, "Hey, can you just like make this a little edgier sounding so it's not like I was just off somewhere, not aware my city was burning?"
I got one thing to add, one little tidbit I kind of forgot, is he is many people believe that he is in sort of like early Christian lore, the Antichrist is referring to him specifically.
Yeah, but how many times have people said that guy's obviously the Antichrist?
I mean, this is like, we're talking about like 50 to 60 years after Jesus. This is pretty early on in Christianity.
The first Antichrist.
Yeah.
This is back when they called it the cult of the Jewish carpenter, not Christianity. And he persecuted a lot of Christians at the time. And a lot of people think that like 666, the number of the beast, has something to do with his like
It was his birthday.
With like the numerology around him. It was like a way for them to refer to him without saying his name.
I could toss him my 6 for him being the devil. It's fitting. Were you giving him any points?
I'm gonna hold off on Nero for now.
I'll give him, do I have a 5 or a 6?
You have a 5.
I'll give him a 5. I feel like I looked into a lot of people and I'm like, oh, they're misunderstood.
Yeah. Connor's like, I actually didn't come with the craziest rulers. I came with the most misunderstood ones.
All right. So on the same kind of vibe, I'm a little surprised this one hasn't popped up yet. It's actually a predecessor to Nero. We're going to talk about Caligula.
Bonus points.
I might be resigning the 6 to Caligula.
Hey, careful. Bonus points, Zach, if you know what Caligula means.
Little boot. Little
Thank
soldier
you.
boot.
Thank you. Little boots. Caligula.
Yeah, because his
We should
regal
make a
name-
pizza place called Caligula, and then like on the fucking pizza box, call it Little Boots.
Hey, it's the Buddha Italy.
But his normal name, or his real name, is Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. A lot of titles.
Caesar Augustus Germanicus is pretty much universal for the emperors.
More or less. But so when he took kind of the throne of, well, Rome, he started off actually pretty sane by all accounts. though for his coronation, they basically had a week of celebration across the entire empire where it's estimated 160,000 animals are actually slaughtered for sacrifices for the event itself.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Not a vegan-friendly emperor.
Not a vegan-friendly emperor whatsoever.
but he started off like with, little things like he gave like troops and soldiers and especially the Praetorian Guard, the actual royal guard of the Emperor of Rome, pretty much pay bonuses.
They're
which
like the
seemed
cops
nice
of
at
the
first.
cops.
Okay.
And again, he would have them more stationed outside, which again, that seemed nice, but it was more of kind of political advantage to have the military actually closer to your side. Pretty much after the first 6 months, that's where he started kind of getting a little extra weird. Caligula is known for his excessive amount of violence, sex, and just absolute just madness.
Humduggery.
Sure.
I don't even know if that's an actual word.
I know you know.
Universally revered debaucherer. Like,
Yes. And I know you know, but do you know that he waged a war on the ocean, Antoine?
Yes, I have learned this, that he waged war on the ocean.
Well, wasn't it technically on Poseidon?
It was on Poseidon. So for those that don't know, yes, he waged war on Poseidon, the actual god Poseidon. So from whatever minor offense that Poseidon must have pissed off Caligula, he had his army go to the ocean, full battle armor, shields, swords, spears, and they threw it at the ocean. And because nothing happened to his army, Caligula counted it as a win on his.
I mean, he's right. Nobody drowned.
do you know about the bridge across the bay he built in order to?
Didn't he make like a bunch of like pontoon bridges
Yeah,
that just
he,
went over like a lake?
Someone before he was even born, I think, said, or maybe when he was like a child, that Caligula would it was more likely to cross this bay on a horse than it would be for Caligula to be emperor. And to sort of spite that claim, years and years later, he ordered this like disastrously expensive and like difficult pontoon bridge to be built across this bay. And he would ride across it several times to just like laugh in the face of this prediction.
I aspire to be that level of petty.
I believe there was even a problem where ships couldn't get out because he was crossing and ordered it to be built.
Yes.
To my knowledge, he also built pretty much an extravagant party barge, basically the original yacht, into a landlocked lake, and it couldn't actually move anywhere. It was basically just docked there. It's kind of like how they made the recreation of Noah's Ark, and it doesn't,
Move.
go in the water or move or do anything.
Well, that one's just waiting. Just waiting for the flood.
Flood number 2.
You're all going to be laughing. Well, they got this big ass boat.
Connor's like, I already got plans. I'm about to go take over the ark. Oh. You know what? I'm not going to reassign the 6 from Nero because Caligula, he's a special level of crazy. My man waged war against the ocean. He gets my 8 sack.
And that was excessive. I'm just gonna say.
Lots of finger guns right there, buddy. Lots of finger guns.
Jeremy is sending finger guns to Zach for the audience who doesn't have the pleasure
Of finger banging sack.
of being here. Fucking Christ.
It's only way more fun if you call finger guns finger bangs.
Let me also add, there's actually a very description of Caligula. So he was very tall, pale, gaunt. He had more hollowed, sunken eyes. His necks and legs were extremely slender, and his temple was kind of a little more hollow, so it almost like his forehead came out a lot more than what his brows would have. In addition, he was excessively hairy. So basically, just imagine a skinny Bigfoot coming at you saying that we're going to fight the ocean.
He was just the Alex Jones of rulers. I'll tell you what. That damn Poseidon, he talked the last shit for the last time. We're going to wage war against the ocean.
Yeah, didn't he get mad if people said the word goat in his presence? Because people called him,
Yeah.
people referred to him as a goat.
So he's essentially the fucking current president of China. Hearing Winnie the Pooh.
But yeah, Caligula gets my 10. I think I still have my 10 left.
You do still have your 10 left.
He is notable as one of the craziest people in history for a reason, at least in Western history.
I mean, when I think crazy ruler, clearly that's like the go-to guy.
What do I have left?
You have your 1, your 3.
That's not to mention
Your
he like
6
fucked his sister.
and your 10.
Like had a long
I gave him my 10
sexual
out.
relationship.
Oh no, like he fucked about everything.
I gave my 10 out to my guy.
Christian the 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
I give Quigley my 3. Is that, or I have my 7, right?
No.
No?
You have your 6.
6. He gets my 6.
I'm giving my 10.
Poseidon is back. We're talking about it. Poseidon's like, fuck this motherfucker. He didn't even win, bro. I didn't even make it over there to fight his bitch ass. He left. Zindi, Emperor Zindi.
Mm-hmm.
He was emperor from 1505 to 1521 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really do much emperor-ing.
Not much emperor.
He
I like that
He
it was
was
made
known-
emperor a verb now.
Yes, I enjoyed it as well.
He thought that was kind of boring. So what he did was in the royal gardens, he built a whole city block for him to role play.
Oh yeah, being a peasant.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he would just pretend that he was a normal individual, buy eggs.
he'd be like
he'd
a
get some
shopkeeper.
and then he'd be done with it by the afternoon, and he'd do it maybe like the next day.
So yeah, he would force all of his servants to play along in this.
The original LARPer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would role play as shopkeepers and just normal jobs around his city. Also as a general, where he would put a wig on and make people address him as a different name. And that's how they would go attack other people. So he was just like always role playing. That was his
Very
shit.
cool.
He didn't want to be an emperor. And I thought it was cool that like as an emperor, you're like, fuck this, man. Let me just be the shopkeeper today. Hey guys, I'm a shopkeeper. And that's how you guys are going to address me for the
My
rest
dude
of the
was
day.
just really ahead of his time and like really needed video games in his life on some real shit.
I wonder if anyone tried to take advantage of him and ask him for like rent money or like to pay and just like pocket it.
I'm sure there's one point where like,
Did
okay,
anybody try to extort the shopkeepers?
Yeah,
Like, hey,
yeah.
we're gonna keep you safe around here,
Your
okay?
Majesty, today we have a peasant role for you.
I have
Okay, where did my? Oh, you're gonna be on the sidewalk, sitting. Here's your can.
I have a very specific racketeering scheme that involves the Emperor's private city block.
What was his name again?
His name is my best pronunciation of his name is Zindi.
Let me give a stab.
Zindi or Zingdi.
XIN or ZIN?
It's
ZHENGDE.
All right. Well, it's ZINDI. He's Zindi, literally.
And he died he was fishing with his a couple of his servants, and he was drunk and he fell off the boat into a river and contracted a disease. Nothing real.
What a way
nothing
to
real,
die.
Yeah, nothing real cool killed
Fucking
this
bullshit
emperor.
way to die.
So like he
was fishing
role
with
played
my
his whole
bros,
life until
fell in
he
the water and
fell in
got
the water drunk and contracted a disease.
Sounds like the way an RPG player would die. To be real.
I've conquered many kingdoms. I've slain gods. Did I just die by a chicken?
Yes.
I mean, he took over at 14 though.
That's pretty badass.
Took over at 14, died
Also
at
makes
29.
sense. I don't want to be emperor.
Yeah.
Like, yo, guys, hold on. Let's play house. All right? Everybody can play. You know what I'm saying? They were probably like, man, what the fuck?
No, we're not playing house with you.
Oh, you will play or you will die. Okay. House it is.
Hold on, think
I'm
about
bringing you flowers, sir. I'll bring them back.
it. Imagine being one of the peasants actually that has to live in that little village block. It's the best gig possible. Just live your everyday life, and maybe the emperor comes around and he wants to buy something from you. Is that so bad?
He also created palaces called the Leopard's Chamber, where he would mingle with all the females. That was one of his things too. So while he wasn't role playing, he was being a gigolo.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah.
Gotcha. Got to
Wouldn't
keep
be
the harem
surprised if
somewhere.
that didn't cross over.
In the Leopard's Chamber. That's
The original pizza scenario. I don't have enough money for all this grain. Whatever I'll do.
I'm bringing you bread. So are you giving Zindi any numbers there?
my 4.
I
4.
give him my 4.
Zach, you have a 7 and a 9.
All right, I'm gonna give him my 9 for being the original Neverland.
Okay. I I'm gonna go.
My guy out the cut with the role playing points here. Did you give him any points?
I only have my 9 left.
So you're holding out on my dude Zing, whatever. Zinding.
I believe it's Zungde D.
Zungde D. That sounds about right.
I took Mandarin freshman year, so.
I got one more pope I wanted to throw out. He's Alexander the Sixth.
The last one I have is the gladiator looter, Commodus.
Okay, I almost picked Commodus, but I was like, eh.
Because Commodus is just a real bitch that tried to look cool.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
wasn't even cool. He just tried to make himself cool.
See, what makes Pope Alexander the Sixth so cool is he was actually cool, and he was like in the mob in like
Hold on. Wait.
When was this
Wait
pope?
to explain it.
what?
When was this Pope?
I want to say like I thought I wrote down the date.
How many numbers do I have left? Throw my 3 or throw my 1 on the only one I'm missing. Just Connor's dude,
Nero?
Nero. Then I have a 3, and then we can wrap it.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think with Pope Alexander, that'll get us all.
Yeah, because I was just going to talk about how Commodus like wanted to be such a great warrior.
I mean,
but
we can have
fought from
honorable mentions.
platforms to kill the animals and only fought soldiers that had like amputated arms and shit like that. Like, you're a bitch. And you're charging people to watch you just like fight handicapped people. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? He was not as cool as the real gladiators out there for sure.
Oh, yeah, but we'll keep in mind the real gladiators were slaves.
I know, but
Right.
they were cool ass slaves.
Also, fun fact, most gladiators didn't have like six packs. They were actually kind of chubby to help prevent them from actually getting their organs penetrated.
Smart.
That makes sense. I mean, I don't think you'd be like all the way in shape if you're malnourished and like,
Oh, no, because if you fought enough, you were like the prize winning bull. You were actually a lot of times for gladiators, if they weren't fighting, they were basically male prostitutes. So they were well fed, they were trained, they were given whatever they needed if they earned their masters enough money. And keep in mind,
master some money, master give you some pussy tonight.
So Alexander the Sixth, Pope Alexander the Sixth,
Pope.
was
Two popes have made this leader conversation.
He was an Italian mobster, and he used his mobster connections to buy his way into being the Pope.
Okay.
I want to say I'm surprised.
And then he
Drug
proceeded.
money in the Vatican. Let's go.
He proceeded to have several mistresses, 9 children as the Pope, and he even hosted several orgies in the Vatican.
Whoa.
Notably,
That sort of kicks ass.
Again, when was this Pope?
He's like he's the Hugh Hef of the Vatican.
yes, he's the Hugh Hefner of the. Yeah.
Hey, yo, you want to come back to my place? It's the Vatican. Like, yeah, okay. If he's having orgies in there, they were definitely doing drugs in the Vatican.
So he died in 1503.
Okay.
So
pretty later on Renaissance.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
He shit all over the Vatican, yo.
Yeah, he even went so far as to actually acknowledge his children, and that's just something you're not supposed to do as the Pope. Like your vow of celibacy there.
He was hosting orgies in there.
Yep, in the
He
Vatican.
was disrespecting the Vatican.
And I'll just go ahead and wrap it up and give this guy my 9.
Oh shit! Hold on. He's that Pope, the Borgia, right? Am I saying that right? The House of Borgia. Yeah.
Yep.
So in addition, his family was also really fucked up. So his kids were sleeping with each other, very, very full on intimately. Like it was not just Brady Bunch scenario. They were full on related.
It was not a Brady Bunch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So we got an incestual orgy throwing Pope.
Yep.
Well, shit, he gets my last number, which is a 4.
Yeah, he hits my 3.
And he gets my last number, which I think is
9.
9? No. Yeah.
And you said 3, Antoine?
I can't keep track anymore.
Yeah, and that guy right there, he's pretty disrespectful. Probably the most disrespectful guy on the whole show today.
All right. Well, we're gonna pause for a rousing round of math real quick.
A rousing round of math.
Rousing.
We just hit that hot math.
We're back from a rousing round of math.
That we are.
Drum roll, please.
Da. Anybody got any honorable mentions they want to throw out before we go into
I'm going to throw out King Henry VIII, I think it was.
respect?
He had like 5 wives. He fucking made a new church because he wanted to get divorced. That's pretty fucking nuts to me. Killed at least one of them. No good. Crazy guy.
Thought he killed several of them.
Killed several. I said at least one.
Okay. All right.
Still
That leaves room for people to
Interpretation.
think I'm smarter than I am and can remember things.
Facts. You got any honorable mentions there, sir?
No, I don't think so at the moment.
What about you?
Commodus.
Commodus.
Is that
Okay.
his name? Commodus, the gladiator. What was he? A ruler?
Yeah.
King, emperor.
King, emperor? I thought emperor.
He was emperor of Rome.
I thought he was crazy just because he wanted to be like a warrior so bad, but was kind of scared to really be a warrior and always put himself at an advantage in the fight. Like he would fight wild animals from like a raised platform.
A giant tower.
Yeah, and he would fight like amputees.
Soldiers that were already hurt.
I guess this also reminds me of Caligula, who I think had agreed to do a fake fight with a gladiator with like wooden swords, and then just killed him, like murdered him.
real terrifying rulers there in Rome.
Yeah. Rome, great to be like an upper middle class person and kind of fucking dog shit to be anything else.
Literally. For my honorable mentions. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say Commodus is actually he's played by Joaquin Phoenix
And the Gladiator, yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The gladiator emperor.
Literally from the movie Gladiator.
Well, when I think Gladiator Emperor as in like he wanted to be a gladiator, not as in the Emperor from Gladiator,
Famous.
which is both true, but
The famous Ridley Scott film, Gladiator.
Mine are Ivan the Terrible, who was the first Tsar of Russia. And he created the concept of the secret police all the way back in 1581.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know that secret police went back that far.
How secret could they be? Like everyone in every town knew each other.
And I also had Rudolph II, Holy Roman Emperor. His whole spiel was he believed anything that anybody told him.
Cool.
Yeah, that was he was the gullible
Sounds
Roman
like
Empire.
the damn president, Jeremy.
Oh. And then finally, Justin the second of Byzantine. He heard voices that he'd often hide from, most likely under his bed was where it notably said. And sometimes for days he would hide under the bed. He bit people on the head, and he most notably lost a lot of Rome to Persia.
Fucking sick.
Was this the guy that got pushed around?
Italy to Persia.
Well, it would have been Byzantium.
Yeah, Byzantium.
Yeah, I read about that guy.
Who are Romans, but
The head biting.
It was like after it was
different
cool to
version
be
of
the
Romans.
Roman Empire.
also I actually do have one. I'm surprised no one brought him up. Vlad the Impaler.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dracula. Isn't that who Dracula's
Yeah.
based off of?
He-
Vlad the
he's-
Impaler?
he
Vlad Dracul.
famously put guys on sticks.
Yep. Okay. That
Through
was
the rectum.
that was our honorable mention section.
How else would you do it? I guess through the mouth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just come out their back of their head?
Well, I guess if you line
Next
it up
spine
right,
area?
it'll come out through their butts.
If you line it up right. Let's put the precision on this.
Let's really work this one out.
Well, I mean,
Well, you see, if you put it in exactly a 35-degree angle.
no, he had a system because they were alive when they were put on there, and they stayed alive till it eventually got closer to their heart.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Couple hours.
Sick.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Great way to end the show here, guys. Go to sleep dreaming about that.
So, number 10 is Nero with 12 points. Then at number 9, Hong Zi-Quan with 13 points. Number 8, Hannibal Barcus with 15 points. Number 7, Zindy with 17 points. Number 6, Ludwig II of Bavaria, 18 points.
Top 5. Top 5.
Top 5, number 5, Pope Alexander VI, 25 points. Number 4, Shi Wangdi, 28 points. My boy, Pope Stephen VI, 32 points. Number 3,
Pope Steve.
Coming in at number 2.
tied with Pope Steve, Christian VII, 32 points.
Ooh.
And the most crazy of all rulers, Caligula, 34 points.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Zach. This is your first game win.
This
Give
is
it
my
up to
first game
Zach.
win.
Fucking Antoine over here being a real hater. Waiting till the end to clap.
I was trying to get the golf clap going like normal, but you was doing the loud clap. I always golf clap for the winner.
Well, congratulations, Zach. That do you have any final statements for the episode?
Yes, if there's anything to learn from Caligula is if you're really mad, Just wage war in the ocean. You'll win.
It'll make you feel good.
You're really mad at the water. Just throw the plastic in there. I'm not endorsing littering. Don't do that. Please don't. But still, you'll win.
You
Not
literally just said,
is canceled because
Yeah,
you're like, throw your straws into the ocean.
please litter in the ocean.
I guess it even gives more credence to him, but I keep remembering other crazy shit that Caligula did.
Oh, yeah? What's one other thing?
Dissolved pearls in vinegar and made people drink them.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's not your average tipsters for the week, you guys.
Go drink some pearls.
Go drink some pearls.
Peace.